Welcome to the Breaking 90 podcast, where we talk about all things sustainable fat loss. We take people on 90-day journeys to creating fat loss forever. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Breaking 90 podcast. I'm your host, Alex Harriman, here with my co-host, Kelly Sarlo. We are two of the coaches of Breaking 90 Fitness. Thanks for being here with us. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hey, Kelly.
Hi, Alex. How are you?
I took that one from you twice in a row.
I know. I felt it.
Good.
Good, he says. Wow.
What's up? What's new?
I have two stories. Or actually, I'll ask you, do you want a heartwarming or a funny story today?
Funny.
Funny, always. So I was thinking about you last night at the dinner table.
And it wasn't heartwarming?
It was, but like in a different way than my actual heartwarming story. But thank you for that shot. So we're sitting at the family dinner table last night, and my brother-in-law decides to play a prank on my father-in-law. And I, like you, can't keep a straight face. So at first I had no idea there was a joke going on at all. So I poured everyone drinks. I set the table. My father-in-law sits down. He looks at the drink and he's like, "Whose is this?" And I was like, "Oh, I poured water for everyone. Just have a seat and pick." And he's like, "Well, it's cloudy. The water's cloudy." So I look at it and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on." Long story short, my brother-in-law has taken a squeeze bottle of lemon stuff, squirted it in there. He is driving his dad mental, okay? So this guy needs to know how things work, why things are the way they are. He's very analytical. He's inspecting all of our dinnerware. He has then dumped out his water, tried a filter instead, and then the tap water. And Dan just keeps putting lemon water every time he touches his back. I have now discovered that this prank is going on. I can't keep a straight face. So I'm looking out the window and I'm crying. Okay. I also sweat when jokes are happening. So like, I'm out of commission. And I had to excuse myself from the room because he could just see him spiraling. Like he couldn't figure out what was going on. Anyway, it was hilarious. It was innocent, and I fell apart.
This is really great, and it's giving me ideas. What instantly came to mind is like using something like just a little bit of like chicken broth or something that makes it taste like the dishwasher's not cleaning dishes properly. I love this. Thank you for this suggestion.
I regret telling this story. Oh my God. Yeah, it was a good time, but I said to Dan, like, you can't involve me in these things. You need to leave me in the dark or I will ruin your stuff.
That's great. No,
yeah.
That's an awesome one.
Yeah, I wished you were there. I know you do stuff like this all the time.
Yeah, I appreciate those kinds of things. That means a lot to me.
It's your love language, eh?
Yeah, it is. It's one of them for sure.
All right. So today I wanted to talk to you because and I'm saying this in all seriousness, not in a joking way. You convinced me to run a Spartan race not so long ago. And that was back in October of last year. We are mid-April right now, and we are going to be running another one in May, just outside Toronto as Breaking 90 Fitness. And you genuinely did such a good job of making it feel like such an inviting situation, and such a great goal to set. I thought it would be a wonderful conversation to have with listeners, just to talk about why they might want to join us and what they might be getting out of it personally, and communally.
So for those of you who are listening to this and not watching it, you can't see the Spartan tattoo that Kelly got on her arm, but she got the giant Spartan logo because she loved it so much.
My God, you're terrible.
That's not true. I lied to all of you, and I'm sorry. Yeah, Spartan's my favorite, not because of the organization, because I think they actually do a really shit job of organizing things in Canada, but because of what the event is. It's a really freaking cool event. And there's tons of obstacle course races and like fun runs out there. To me, none of them can compare to Spartan.
Interesting.
Yeah. Tough Mudder perhaps, but like Tough Mudder also wants it to feel like I just overcame something that was so freaking crazy hard. Like Spartan doesn't need to be that either. I just think they have really good obstacles and like high quality courses, and like they get good volunteers involved, and it usually runs smoothly. I don't like the lead up, that's why I prefaced it with the organization. I think like the management and the website and all of that is like really terribly run. But when you get there, it all goes smooth, and you can tell that the money's been put into it. Like the obstacles are good quality obstacles. Everything feels safe. And the events are good, usually good locations. And you can set your challenge basically. They have everything. You can go in competitive waves, all the way down to for fun waves. You'll have people who basically are like world-class athletes in some of these competitive waves, all the way down to people who are doing their very first event and they're walking most of the race, and they're all together at the same event celebrating together, which is really awesome. You're not racing those high level athletes unless you are one of them. Like they put you in different heat waves, and so that you're on your own. You'll be with people of a similar caliber to you, but like everybody's on the same mission, which is cool. And so that's what I love about Spartan. It's just like nothing else until you've tried one.
Yeah, I want to hand it back to you in a minute, but just some of the things that I loved based on what you're talking about, like started just watching Emerson do it. You know, he was I think 5 at the time.
Yeah,
Uh,
4 or 5.
yeah, maybe 4.5. And like just the exposure for kids to gain body awareness and confidence moving through things, I just think is fantastic. They made it so engaging, that kids get inspired to also get better and want to do the adult course, which is cool.
Yeah.
I also remember that first year, walking through and watching you guys run it and seeing like 70-year-olds competing in the actual like top athletes who, I think they announced one guy had ran like 50 of them or something like that. He
Oh,
was celebrating a massive milestone. And I thought, oh my God, if I could, like you said, walk this course at 70 and just complete all of those things
yeah.
and say like I went through a course at 70, I'd be thrilled. Right. So it's like it's making things so inviting and so inclusive. I thought it was fascinating just to encourage longevity as well.
I also find a lot of the marketing and a lot of the stuff you'll see on social media comes across as really intimidating, but it doesn't really feel that way once you're there, like because they're showcasing a lot of these top end athletes and they're showcasing some of obstacles which are intense, but the beauty of it is that they have scaled obstacles. So like with the competitive wave, they might, on like a climbing wall for instance, they might remove some of the handholds, and so it's harder. And then as the day goes on and the less competitive waves come, they might start adding handholds to make it a little bit easier. And every obstacle is I'm gonna make up a word here because I don't think it's a real word, attemptable.
Okay.
Like you have the ability to try every obstacle, and if you fail, like it's not going to be a big deal. Like you're not going to make it all the way up the rope. You're going to have to come down, and then they'll be like, yeah, go run this penalty loop because you didn't make that obstacle, and like nothing bad comes from it. I really like that because there's nothing where you go up to it and you're like, oh, I can't even try this. It's not even like I can't try this. I'm going to get hurt. It's not like that. And there's certain obstacles like the spear toss where even the high level athletes are going to fail. So it's like it's teaching us that failing is cool, it's fine, and it's part of the process,
Yeah.
because not even the best athletes in the world always pass every obstacle, because a spear toss, as much as you can train, still has a chance factor in it. And so you miss the spear toss, you do the penalty. And it's like, okay, yeah, like even they're missing obstacles. So that's part of it. If you don't pass an obstacle, you didn't fail the race. That is part of the process. And then the next year when you come in, you're more well prepared. You've seen what you should have trained more, what you should have put more effort into, where you could have pushed yourself a little bit harder. And every time you start to get a little bit better at this.
I love it. I thank you for bringing up that point because that's something that even I forgot, right? Is that like sometimes you just assume those top level athletes are hitting it every time. And it's such a good life lesson outside of a race to know that you can mess up on an obstacle and life can go on and you can be very,
Totally.
very successful.
Yeah, it's actually really cool because what they've done is they take like strength athletes have a significant advantage on some obstacles, but typically aren't great at running. Um, Climbers have a huge advantage on many of the obstacles, but often are smaller framed, have a harder time with the strength stuff.
Yeah.
Runners have a huge advantage with the runs, but often are very small and have a hard time with a lot of the obstacles. So it's like to become that hybrid athlete that's good at all of this is tough. There's going to be parts of it where you're like, I loved that. I was really good at that. There's going to be parts of it where you're like, that was really hard. I know I need to train more there if I want to continue to do these races. And I really like that because it's not easy to be well-rounded in something like a Spartan race.
Mm-hmm. I also think too, and as you know, the one that I did, like weather changed the entire game. Top
Yeah.
athletes that are well-rounded in all of these things and seasoned veterans in Spartan races themselves were just like, Jerica said herself, I've never run a race like that. I've never seen conditions like that. And no matter how good you are with your stability, your strength, etc., the landscape of the race changes and it becomes
Yeah.
something entirely different. And yet there's a level of compassion and respect and determination for what happens, which
Yeah.
I just think is super cool.
What's fun is so the one that Kelly's referencing, like it was super cold, it was super muddy, and it was on one of our steepest terrains in this area. So you are getting like a terrain that is really really freaking hard. Like even the Americans coming up were commenting on how hard the terrain was, but on top of that it was just wildly muddy because of the amount of rain we had had leading up to it. So there were a lot of periods where you couldn't run, and it changed the game because now you can't, like, it's like, okay, I'm not making up ground here because I need to walk. I'm gonna have to make up ground somewhere else. And that's the beautiful thing. I've run that course a couple times now. You can't even compare your time from year to year because it was like, oh yeah, that was the year that the mud was so bad I had to walk. But you can compare your time. You could be like, oh yeah, this race I came like 1400th out of the crowd. This race I came 400th out of the crowd, and it's like I'm making progress. Like that's what's fun about all this. And I know a lot of you listening to this are like, you're insane. This doesn't sound fun, but I promise you it is. And the way that we make it fun is we get a group of people to do it together. And so what we did last year was we just didn't open the doors and we said, hey, anybody who wants to come run with Breaking 90, come on out. We'll get you a t-shirt and we'll run as a crowd. And we've got some people that are going to run faster and some people that want to walk the whole thing, but you're going to be there with other Breaking 90 people. So a lot of people brought friends or siblings. A lot of people just matched up with other Breaking 90 followers and were like, hey, like, you want to pace with me? And that's what's really cool. So we're hoping to get that to continue to grow. And that goes to anybody, like whether you've ever been a client with us or not, or you just enjoy our podcast or you just enjoy our social media, like you're part of our crowd, and we'd love to have you out there with us rocking the B90 logo.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Um
getting excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited too.
Yeah. So I think it's, while we're here, like it's worth talking about how to prepare a little bit for this if this is something you're looking at doing. So we are looking at an early season one like May, but we'll probably do a big crowd one in October again because Blue Mountain's a really cool venue. There's lots of Airbnbs in place for people to stay. There's restaurant availability, things like that. So that's a fun one to go as a group, and it's kind of centrally located. So the beauty of it is that if you're listening to this and you're like not ready to run a race in May, October's tons of time. I don't care what shape you're in, it's tons of time. almost every single person listening to this could go out and walk that race and be perfectly fine. You'd probably miss some of the obstacles. You'd probably miss a lot of the obstacles, truthfully, but you'd be able to walk through the course and you'd be fine. You just wouldn't be happy with your score in time. That will improve.
Speaking of which, I do recall both years that I went to Blue, one to watch, one to do it. There was a gentleman, same guy each year, who was a photographer, and he walked the entire course just on his own to take pictures of everyone running the race. And I was in awe of this man because he was out there in like not athlete gear, just, walking up Blue Mountain with everyone, doing it just like you're talking about right now, right? Like
Cool.
not in an athlete mindset, but just like, I'm going to get some great photos today.
So there are videographers that run with the top level athletes, which is so wild because these are like, what they'll do is like during exciting periods, they'll run with the athletes with their camera shooting the race, and then they'll like hop on a four-wheeler and get to the next section and run with these athletes again. And it's like, I cannot even imagine the conditioning you would need to be able to do that.
That's amazing.
Some of these runners are running like 3 minute kilometers, guys. Like they're not of this planet.
Yes.
So on that note, how do I prepare for this? Well, the things, if you've never run one of these, like if you've done fun runs and foam runs and color runs and stuff like that, you can't compare those. They're going to be way easier. I promise you, they're going to be easier. So don't use that as your gauge. Spartan will be harder, and the reason it's harder mostly is because of the terrain that they choose. They choose difficult courses. Blue Mountain is a difficult course. What is going to take you by surprise is how freaking steep that hill is. So where you can make up the most ground, in my opinion, is just getting comfortable walking hills. Most people aren't running up that hill or even jogging up that hill. They're hiking it. And if you have to stop and take a lot of breaks or walk really slow, that's where it's going to hurt you the most. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, you could go out today and finish it. You just probably wouldn't be as happy as if you actually trained for it. So if you want to train and you want to do well, just get comfortable working on hills. Like it can be streets and trails. A combination of the two is great, but just get familiar with walking those hills and getting that burn in the legs that I know you've all experienced, and pushing through that a little bit, and then kind of week after week after week pushing yourself a little bit harder, a little bit further to get used to that feeling. That's going to go a long way in a Spartan race. I've got a couple things here, Kelly, but I'm curious, with it being your first race, where are you like, oh shit, I should have probably spent some more time doing this?
That's a great question. More time. Oh, easy. Hangs. So one of the things, I actually went through my photos and saw this video that I had sent you in Devon a while ago. I went to a playground for the first time in probably, I don't know, 25 years, and did monkey bars before Blue Mountain, and I fell off. Like, they're not geared to adults, so you're holding your body in a very different way, but like being able to jump up, grip onto a bar, like those rings that they have, right? And not just hanging, but actually swinging your weight to create momentum and grip. So there was grip strength that I did work on, but I never shifted my weight on that bar. And I wish, instead of just jumping up and holding, I wish that I had actually like shimmied across a bar and got used to that weight. Because there were quite a few ring situation and bar situations.
There's a lot of grip strength stuff, anywhere from you climbing or holding to you carrying things. But like Kelly said, there's also a lot of climbing too. So that incorporates the grip strength and the ability to climb. Something that you guys have heard me talk about with pull-ups and climbing, like one of the easiest things you can do for pull-ups and climbing is just make sure you're not carrying extra weight on that race too. Like I went into that race heavier than I have in the past, and like I felt it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Even just an additional 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds, anything that you have extra that isn't lean muscle is going to make the race harder. So I'm not telling you have to be shredded, but like if you have the ability to lose 5 pounds of fat or extra weight leading up to a race like this, it's going to help you through the entire race.
It's good.
Yeah, grip strength, no brainer. Work on the grip strength, work on climbing. If you can, go to like an indoor rock climbing gym beforehand so that it will highlight where you need to work, basically. Like you'll be like, oh shit, my hands are really sore, my forearms are sore, I'm having a hard time here. It'll show you, it'll expose those weaknesses for you so that you know where you can put in some work. But these are things you don't have to work on at a rock climbing gym. You can do it in your home gym just by holding weights, hanging off a bar, going to a park and actually climbing, moving your body, hanging from one hand, hanging from both hands, trying to get up higher or down lower with those grips. Like that, this is all stuff that you can work on. Yeah, anything you want to add there?
There were quite a lot of carries throughout the course, and I remember, doing the gym exercises that Jerica had laid out for me because she knew I was training for it, and I was doing a lot of farmer carries, right? So you're like just holding dumbbells right
Yeah.
down, and I just thought they were boring, and I was cursing her, and I was just like, this is so stupid. And then I got there, and there were no less than 5 carries, and
Yeah.
up Blue Mountain as well. And I just thought, geez, did she ever do a good job preparing us for this? Because just carrying weight at your sides, like walk around Home Depot with some paint cans, right? Like
Yeah.
it's yeah, it was great. I loved
Yeah,
it.
for those of you listening to that, so a farmer's carry, you're just carrying 2 heavy weights at your side. They could be grocery bags. You're carrying 2 heavy weights at your side. What this does, if you do it properly, it forces you to slow down, stabilize your core, and control your breathing. So a lot of the carries in Spartan, you're putting the weight up on your shoulder, you're carrying it high, so it doesn't translate as much to the grip strength of a farmer's carry, but it's the exact same thing. You need to stabilize your core, keep an upright posture, and control your breathing. So it's a really, really good way to train. And the added bonus of a farmer's carry is you also get grip strength training out of it. So I would definitely encourage you can just go on Google and Google farmer carry variations. There's tons of variations, but the ability to carry a heavy weight over a long period will take you far in Spartan. You can't run with it, so don't pick a weight that you could do like a light jog with. Like pick a weight that you have to walk under control and not let your breathing get out of line.
Mm. Yeah, Derek has done a few episodes too on how to prepare, what to wear, what like how to anticipate it. So if people do want to go back through the archives, we can even do a playlist of, Spartan ready or obstacle course ready podcasts for people. I think the big thing is like come out, come with us, have
Totally.
that exposure, have that community that has your back. Um, feel safe doing it. And I mean like safe that people are going to help you get through it, even if you've got the jitters. Um,
Yeah.
whether you've trained super hard or you're just coming out to figure out what it's all about.
Yeah, I promise you guys will love it. If you come out with us or with a group, you will love it.
Mm.
And you just need to go into it with the mentality that you're competing against yourself. You're there to set a score that you're proud of because you put in some work, and then it's now a landmark for you in the future. I want to do a little bit better on these climbs. I want to do a little bit better on the runs or the uphill walks. Like it's only going to better you in your health and fitness journey.
Can
Yeah,
I just add there? I think
sure.
like the perfect example of what Alex is saying that you're just competing against yourself is the finish line for Spartan, which is so to me so unique. Is you got to jump over fire. And like this is not a finish line that people are pushing to finish milliseconds faster than you or anything. Like you get up to that finish line, if there's 3 or 4 of you, people are like, you go ahead first. Like people aren't upset that they're one behind or one in front. They know
Yeah.
you're getting your picture taken as you jump over the fire, so they're happy to let you have that moment, right? And it's just like it's so friendly. I hope that people feel excited to experience that.
Well, and part of that is because there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people running, maybe thousands. And so there's waves all day long. And so the competitive waves go first. They are trying to score high. You're not trying to beat those people. You're not trying to come first through third. So you're not getting on that podium until you've done many, many Spartans and you've made this your passion and you want to. But you're probably, if you're listening to this, that's probably not what you're doing it for. Then all through the day, there's like the open fun waves. So even if you like beat that person by a millisecond in your wave, there could be 10 other people that finished at the exact same time as you in other waves. Like it's not at all a race in that sense. It's a race against yourself.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. So where I'm going to leave that is, if you're listening to this and it's kind of piquing your curiosity, but you're a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit scared, reach out and talk with us. We helped several people run their first Spartans. We have training programs that we use, and training programs in place to help you actually do all of these things that we briefly mentioned today. So if you don't know where to start, have that conversation with us, and we can point you in the right direction at least. And if you're like, yeah, you know what, after hearing this, I'm in, then shoot us a message and we'll get you on our team for the next one, because the more the better, and the more people that sign up, it just gets fun. You connect with other people on a similar journey. Like there's so many advantages to doing this as a team.
Yeah, and I mean, we're here in Ontario, Canada, and if that's not possible for you, Spartan's everywhere. So if you just want to get Spartan ready so that you feel confident to do it in your own location, we're here for it.
Totally. Or fly up to Ontario, Canada.
Or that.
Right? Cool. What you have a closing tip today, Kelly, or do I? You do.
I do. It's just a simple nutrition one, just to get some more veggies in. For anyone who, like myself, kind of rotates between egg salad sandwich and tuna sandwich through lunches, I've been trying to eliminate a little bit more bread, just because that's sometimes not always worth it if you're looking at it from a nutrition standpoint. So I've been using it almost like a dip, that egg or that tuna, and just using carrot sticks, celery sticks, snap peas, cucumbers, all of that to dip into it. Just gets more veggies throughout the day and a little bit more flavor.
Smart. You can even get like those chip-shaped carrots for things like that.
Yep.
Do you like spice? I can't remember.
What spice?
Like medium spice.
Oh, not like a flavor, but like heat.
Like hot, yeah.
I can do it.
We put jalapeno in our tuna the other day instead of celery, and it was really nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something different.
Thanks.
Okay, guys, thanks for being here with us. Wherever you're listening, please leave a comment, rate it, review it. Help us get more exposure to this podcast, and more than anything, just let us know that you listened. We love hearing the feedback from all of you. We love having these conversations. So let us know. Let us know if you're here listening with us, because we always appreciate that. Thanks. Have a great day.